Okay guys, yeah, I've just arrived home. Really hot today, about 35, 36 again, boiling. Really good. Started the vlog today down in Arcastellion, and I rode from Arcastellion north up to JP L'Oreal. There are a lot of apartments there in that area that you can rent, and today's vlog is about apartments.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head.
Said a couple of weeks ago that it's quite complicated what they call apartments here. Condos are one thing, houses another, subdivision properties is another, but apartments can be anywhere. So let's start with what can you get?
My bed, think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really noticed.
Okay, well you can get a one bedroom or you can get a two bedroom apartment. Now I've got a one bedroom apartment here, a studio as they call it, but you can get a one bedroom or you can get a two bedroom. Now sometimes an apartment will be on one floor, or it might be on the bottom floor and on the top floor. Okay, so it's like a townhouse, but they call it an apartment. Now you can get different configurations and different sizes, but today I'm going to be looking at what you need to understand about when you rent an apartment, when you come here, and the things you need to look for. So location is the first one. Now you can get an apartment downtown in Davao or in Cebu or in Manila, or you can get an apartment and rent an apartment out of town. You need to turn around and make sure that if wherever it is, your basic needs are catered for. One, you've got some parking. Two, it's in a respectable area. Okay. Three, you have good water pressure. Some apartments here will just tap into the local water supply, which gives you this massive fluctuation on water pressure. So some days it might be coming out looking like it's running at about quarter of a mile an hour. You're going, where is it? Or the other time you'll turn it on and the pressure's good from the water company, and it's coming out very, very fast. Other apartments will turn round and have a tank on the roof, which they'll have gravity pressure pushing down on the water. But if you're in a larger apartment block, i.e. 3-story apartment block, then the water gets used up really, really quickly, and you get back to that low pressure again, and you get that intermittent water supply in your apartment. The other one is you've actually got, what's that there? You've got a pump which pumps water to all of the apartments, and I've seen quite a few apartment blocks like that. Now apartment blocks I look at when I'm in the Philippines, in Davao especially, and if I was in Cebu or I was in Manila, I would look at 2-story only. So ground floor, first floor, don't go any further. The higher you get, great views, but it's harder to get water up to that level unless it's pressurized. Now the other thing you need to make sure is you've got a good electrical supply coming to your area, and you can find that out by going on to, here you can go on to Davao Light and you can look at the performance of the electrical company, the performance of the water company, Davao Water or Des Moines if you're over near Intal or Bangkal. Okay. The other thing you need to look at is go to take the address you're looking to rent in or that area, and then go to your internet provider and ask if there's internet coverage in that area. They all turn around and say it's fibre. Yeah, it ain't. They say it's fibre in the UK. It's fibre from outside to your house, yeah, but it's very difficult to pump fibre or feed fibre all the way through the conduits here when people are digging up the road all the time. So it's normally those cables above it, electrical cables, that will turn around to the internet, and then fibre from the relay box there to you is what you get. But the speed is still to that box. There is cable. Yeah, and if you're living in a populated area, then your internet speed will go down, go up. It won't be what it says on the contract. So they're the basic needs you need to turn around and look for when you're looking for an apartment. Parking, because you don't want to be parked on the street. You want to turn around and have good access, good security. You want to have good water pressure, good water feed. Now, I had an apartment before this apartment, which was up in Kapitian, and it had Demoy water being tanked in, but the owners decided to put a well in the ground and draw water from the water table. As soon as they started doing that, about 2 or 3 weeks later, I became ill. I had an eye infection, and I also had problems with my nether regions, the bit that does this. Yeah, I had to go to Davao Dock, and I had an infection in it, in my bit, and I had an infection here. I also got an ear infection, and that was because the water was normal. What was it called? Water level, the water table. It was being drawn out of the water table into the apartments, and it wasn't clean, it wasn't chlorinated, it wasn't sanitized, it wasn't, you know, looked after. You couldn't drink it, put it that way, because it had every bug and everything in it was in it. Okay, so what? Make sure your water's good. Electricity, make sure electricity here for me is very, very good. The internet, it's a bit like that. Water is pretty good. It's only every now and again if all apartments are running. There's a condo hotel over there that's got 45 rooms. They use pressurized water. They have pumps that are on the roof that pump into tanks, and as soon as the tank draws down, it fills it back up straight away. But you can get that in your property, but it's one of those things. Now, if you're looking in Davao, you've got some subdivisions. I prefer to rent on a subdivision. I've rented off a subdivision, and it was noisy, it was polluted, it had a lot of rubbish on the street. The apartment area was very, very nice, don't get me wrong, very, very nice. Kept clean and tidy by the people that owned it. The caretaker kept the grounds nice and tidy, off-road parking. But as soon as you got off-road, it became messy, it became noisy, and it became difficult to get out of this apartment area when you're on the main road. And I was actually on Diversion Road, and every time it rained, on the right hand side, we were at the top of the hill, it used to come down, and when it got to the bottom, it was about 3 foot of water, so you couldn't get through there. And when it was 3 foot of water, all the electrics packed up, all the water pumps packed up, all the internet packed up, because they all came through that water area, that river. So we used to have to come out of the apartment, turn left and go down towards Sasa, and then come back along our Castellion, which is where I was this morning. Okay, and then that took us down to Agdal, and Annie could get to work. But sometimes it took Annie nearly an hour and a half to get to work when it rained. So we moved closer in town, and we moved to an area that was flood free. Now, this is not a flood free subdivision. It's been flooded 5 or 6 times, and I did a vlog on the subdivision over by the Barangay Hall here, and they're still putting drains in, they're still doing wash away drains, because when they first built this subdivision it was a 15-inch pipe to get rid of the wastewater. Now it's a 4.5-foot pipe. Difference, isn't it? Technology understands that when you get thousands and thousands of gallons of rainwater, you need to get rid of it. Putting it down a little hole like that don't work, especially when it gets blocked up. You need something that's bigger than me. I can stand inside it so the water can flush away. So location, that's what we've just turned around and talked about. We've talked about the services that you require. What are you looking for? Me personally, clean water, electricity, internet, good location, quiet environment. Wherever you are, you always get dogs, so don't even go there. I jokingly turn around and say, who let the dogs out? Well, the dogs are always out. There we go. The cats run around, the Ming Mings run around, fighting each other, scrapping, and that's what you have. Now, the other thing you need to consider is your garbage. Basura. What do you do? The basura here runs on Monday and Thursday. It's around 6:30 in the morning. The guy comes around, picks up your rubbish and takes it up to a garbage disposal area here in the barangay. There are only 5 barangays in Davao. This will shock you. That actually have waste management systems in place. Only 5. Yeah. Everybody takes their rubbish up to the rubbish dump, which is up at Lahang, and dumps their stuff, or they take it to the garbage here. There is a garbage pot down here, a garbage place down here next to Demosa, and you can put your rubbish in there, but that's getting a little bit more difficult to do because it's for the shopping precinct area, and people are moaning because 300-400 houses here are taking their bags down there and just dumping the bags on a Monday morning on the street and expecting the rubbish man to take it away. So I've done a vlog on rubbish here where I've been down to the area here, and it overflows all the time, and I would not like to be living in that area. And that is what you talk about location. Go to the subdivision, look at the subdivision. I like this subdivision because it's close to the road here. It's near the airport, but it's also near the mall and the hospital. And that's the thing. The third thing for me is, what do you have that you need close by? So for me, I have a hospital which is just down here, which is the Langham Premier Hospital. 2 miles, easy to get to, modern, all the facilities, great hospital. 2, pharmacy store. I have one directly outside here. I have one that's 200 metres down on the right hand side. I can get to them to turn around and get meds if I need meds. Okay, airport. We live close to the airport. Sometimes the planes fly overhead and it's as noisy as hell. The majority of the time they fly over here somewhere. Between that gap, they fly up there. So when they're landing, they're coming in and they're coasting in quietly. When they're taking off is when they're noisy buggers, and they take off. If they take off and they're flying left to go past Samal, which is over here, then they fly overhead here and it becomes noisy. You don't want to be looking at living on the flight path of an airport. You just definitely don't want to do that. Okay, now hospital, pharmacy, doctor, mall, near the airport. It's got good transportation. You can get taxis, pedicabs, jeepneys out here. Get jeepneys down the road, which is 400 metres down to JP L'Oreal. Okay, so it's things you need to look for. You don't want to be looking at an apartment that is 5-6 kilometres outside town. They got no jeepney, they got no pedicab. You're phoning up for a taxi all the time, or you're walking into town in the heat. You don't want to be 20 kilometres away from a hospital or a medical facility if you're at my age. If you're getting old, if you're 30, yeah, you can turn around and rough it. But there's some vloggers here there's a guy that fell out of a pickup truck, not this year but last year, damaged his shoulder. He lives up at Catil. He had to go from Catil all the way to Tagham because it was a specialist job on his shoulder. That was 3 hours. If you like that, great, go for it. But when you start getting older, you don't want to be living out in the middle of nowhere, because if you have an infection or you have an issue, you want to resolve it, you want to sort it out, and you want to move on with it. So that's apartment. Now the other thing is old or new. Now there are apartments here that were built 20 years ago. Their water pressure is going to be dodgy, the electricity is going to be iffy. The barangay has had 20 years, so it's gone from being a premium down to maybe below premium, maybe even lower than below premium. You're going to have to understand that it's going to be musky, it's going to be mouldy, there's going to be damp that's crept into the tinder block, or how it works. It's not going to be looked after by the owners. The owners want you to come in and they'll turn around and rent it. All they'll do is take some money off because they don't want to turn around and paint it. They'll turn around and they don't look after the garden. They expect you to look after the garden. You know, I get AC here, but I have to service the AC in my apartment, which is great because then I know I'm not having any dodgy wheeler dealer guy down the road spray a bit of bonus washing up liquid into the filter. It's actually being washed and cleaned out properly. So they're the things that you need to do. I go for maybe 1 to 2 years old, stay there 4 or 5 years, then move on. That's what I would suggest. Now, what do you want in your apartment? Now, that is another one. You can get it furnished or you can get it unfurnished. If it's furnished, it's a little bit more expensive. But I go the middle ground. I don't want it fully furnished with a TV and all of that, because I don't do TV. What I do want is I want a fridge, a bed and an AC unit, yeah, and then I'll supply my own stuff, because I don't know who's been using the other equipment when you arrive. Oh look, there's a nice little heater there, or there's a lovely little kettle there, and there's a microwave there, and there's a little oven there. Yeah, but how old is it? Is it electrically sound? Is it fit for purpose? Am I going to plug it in and all of a sudden, you know, my ears start spinning around, my hair starts standing on end, and my nose goes bright red? You need to feel comfortable in what you're bringing into the apartment. So,
with you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test, I better not text or I'll come off dead.